Hey, good morning guys, MTB Duffy here. We're here in Barbados. I've had this Santa Cruz Megatower now for a year almost. Pretty much bought this bike as soon as it came out. At the time I was riding a specialized stump jumper, the new one, which I really loved as well. But when Santa Cruz released this bike, I really just, almost had to have it, right? So I sold the bike I had at the time and bought this bike, and I've been really enjoying it. So I'm looking forward to getting you guys a long-term review today, and then we're going to go into some additional videos on how, what I've done to improve the bike, right? Because, that's just the mountain biker's disease, right? We have to tinker, we have to, go after the next, piece of kit that we think is going to make our bike better, and I think I've kind of gone down that road with this bike. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting you some feedback on the upgrades I've done, as well as just how the bike has been performing over the past year. So let's get into it, let's hit the trail, let's talk about the bike, and let's have some fun. So just a bit about me, guys. I'm 5'9". I've been riding bikes my entire life. Started riding motocross at 6. So motocross is kind of like my first passion since I was a kid. And I've been doing it for about 30 years now. So I'm 35 years old now. I haven't stopped riding motocross since I was 6 years old. So kind of gives you some idea about me, the motocross background, how I kind of want to let you know that, because that translates over to what I'm looking for in a mountain bike, and kind of my style of riding, right? So I'm really into the aggressive trail / enduro style of riding, and so here we are, right, with the Megatower. So right off the bat, I would say let's talk about climbing first. So this bike actually climbs surprisingly well for an enduro bike. If I can compare it to my last bike, which was the Specialized Stump Jumper 2019 model, that was the new one that Specialized had released in 2019. That bike was a very versatile 29er, climbed really well, it was playful, poppy, and I really loved that bike. I was kind of worried a little bit that this new bike, being more on the aggressive side, wouldn't climb as well, but man, I'm really impressed with the way this bike climbs. It climbs every bit as well. I would say maybe just a notch worse than the Specialized Stump Jumper. Yeah, and by a notch worse, I really just mean a notch worse, because that Specialized Stump Jumper is a trail bike, right? It's not an enduro bike. So to even be compared to a bike in that category is really, really good, right? So climbing has definitely surprised me. I'm impressed, and I'm happy with the way this bike climbs. So what about the overall feel of this bike? Okay, so we talked about it being a decent climber, and now let's look at how this bike actually feels. Is it playful? Is it slow to respond? These are the types of things that I know you guys as viewers and as buyers are probably wondering, right? So let's address the name. This bike is called the Megatower, right? So that is quite misleading. In my view, this bike is very well balanced as a package. It's not a plow machine like some might think it is. So yes, you can set it up that you can plow over stuff and just sit back and let the bike do the work for you when you're speeding down the hills and stuff, but it's not as laid back as some of the other enduro bikes out there, right? There's some other bikes out there that really are plow machines. This bike, not so much. This bike more has a racy feel to it, I would say. It's stiff and it means business. At the same time, it's playful and poppy. For me, I like that. I like a playful, poppy bike. I don't want to mute the trails too much. So for me, I think this bike is a really good overall balance for what I'm looking for. I want something that I can trust at high speed, but also I want something that when things get a little bit slower, I can pop off of them, have a little fun. I love to jump around and seek out obstacles on the trail. This bike allows me to do that and allows me to have fun even when the trail is on the less aggressive side. Another drop here. So let's move on to the fun stuff, the downhill performance of this bike. So spoiler alert, Santa Cruz Megatower is an amazing descender. And that's what this bike was made for. It was made for descending really fast. It's an enduro race bike. That's what it's born and bred for, and it does a great job, right? What I would say is that this bike does like or appreciate rider input, meaning you're not going to want to sit back and close your eyes and just descend blindly on this thing. It's not exactly that much of a plow machine, but if you're the kind of rider that still likes to pick your lines, still is active on the bike, this bike is perfect, right? So the bike is very confidence inspiring. It can handle pretty much anything I've thrown at it, right? Going down big drops, big jumps, descending really hard into rough, choppy sections. The bike just stays composed, and it's very, very confidence inspiring. So there's really no complaints on my side around how this bike descends. So if you're buying this bike for this purpose, you're sure to be happy with your choice. So I mentioned earlier about my motocross background, and one of the things that I enjoy most in motocross is jumping. I love rhythm sections, jumps like doubles, triples, etc. So of course that translates over to my mountain biking, and I need a bike that I can have fun on when there are jumps around. So this bike has been great just jumping in the bike park, jumping on the trail. It throws me, I would say, in a very neutral position. It throws you, it flies in a very balanced way, and it's very confidence inspiring. Yet you can also toss it around in the air. I've been having a lot of fun throwing whips on it, and yeah, this bike has been a lot of fun. I mean, so for an enduro bike, right, of course there are other bikes out there that you can whip easier, but they're not enduro bikes. So if you want an enduro bike or just one category of bike and you only have one bike, right, then yeah, you can still have fun jumping this bike around in your local bike park, etc. And with regards to setup, this bike has several options. You've got the chainstay adjuster in the long and short positions, and then you also have a high and low position on the shock for the flip chip. So I've been running this bike in the short wheelbase configuration, or the short chainstay configuration, as well as having the flip chip in the low position, and I've found that has been working really well for me, both on the RockShox Super Deluxe coil as well as the Fox Float X2. Just really quick on the sizing, so I'm 5'9" on a medium. I could have gone probably with a large as well, but I opted to go with the medium size, and the reach has been fine. The cockpit feels comfortable for me on the medium, so I've really been happy with it. And also, for me, on our local trails, we don't have the most high speed stuff, so I was fine going with the medium, to take advantage of that, little more flickability in the cornering and the jumping. So so I've been enjoying the medium on a 5'9". If you're 5'11", you're probably going to want a large, for sure, actually. But for me, anyone up to 5'9", I'd say could be happy on the medium. So what do I not like about this bike? Perhaps the only thing that isn't ideal, and it's not really that much of a complaint, we're really just nitpicking here, but if you have the RockShox coil, getting to the rebound adjuster is a bit of a pain with the way the shock is positioned in the frame. However, if you're on an X2 or a similar shock like that, where you have the rebound and compression adjusters together, then that's not really an issue, right? You're not going to have that problem. So I'm running the X2, and that completely solves that problem for me. But if you're going to be running a coil that has the rebound adjuster located at the bottom of the shock, in that tight little space, you might get a little bit annoyed with that. Of course, once you get the shock set up right, you're not really going to play with that adjuster much more. But that's just the only thing I could think of to say, that would be a minor complaint that I have. So just to close this off with my overall impression, I'm very happy with this bike, very happy with my decision to go with the Santa Cruz Megatower, and in fact I'm already excited to see how Santa Cruz improves upon this platform in the near future, right? Perhaps I'll be on the waiting list for one of those as well. So that's it, guys. Hope the video was helpful, and keep an eye out for the next video where I will dive into detail on the 2021 Fox Grip 2 damper and how that's been performing over the past few weeks of testing. Thanks, guys. Until then, stay safe and happy riding.